So one of the things that I did want to talk about, and it's because something that I gave some heavy thought recently, and I ended up coming up with this topic because at the time I was also having problems making a decision, and that decision was what the topic was going to be for today. Now, most people don't understand that, um, myself included, for a very long time, that making well decisions is it's actually a skill that you have to work on over time and kind of build up. So it kind of falls in line with like having that that momentum building worksheet right there. I already had you guys trying to go through and make those decisions, and I know some of it put quite a few people right on the spot, especially those that were part of the conversation that we had. Now, the problem that most people make, including myself, is overthinking every decision that we make. And part of the skill that comes in is starting to learn and understand what the different levels are in decisions. A lot of what I talk about, a lot of what we end up going over, I always explain like there are levels to it. And I do apologize, guys. I still have a little bit of a cough, so I will cough here and
Do not apologize.
there.
Just say thank you for understanding.
Well, I appreciate you guys understanding. Hmm. Now, uh, sorry. Pansy, I'll actually ask you, do you know or have any understanding what the three different levels are in the decisions that you can make when it comes to your business?
The three different levels of decisions I can make when
Yeah.
starting my business. Is that what you mean?
In your
Oh,
business.
in
So
my
like
business?
if you have a decision that you have to make, there's three different types, three different levels.
I mean, I don't know like off the top of my head, but I think I understand what you're trying to say. Like, there's the level like where most anybody can make the decision, right? I suppose. And then there's another tier where someone else maybe in a different I don't know, high, maybe one up position, understands a little more, can make that decision. And then there's decisions that just like the business, the people who are actually owning the business make the decisions. Am I somewhat close?
You are somewhat close. Um,
You called on me.
there.
I'm like, oh my God, I gotta answer a question. Shoot.
No problem. You are relatively close. There are fast decisions, which are low stake decisions. There are medium impact decisions, and then there's the high stake decisions. Now, you could classify those if you're looking at tiers within your business that same exact way. There's those decisions that anybody can make. There's those decisions that the management level can make, and there's those decisions that the business partners or
Right.
business owners can make. The thing is, in your business, you're going to want eventually, like, you're going to want the people that are, it doesn't matter where they are in the business, to be able to make any of these decisions and then bring that conclusion to you. So you obviously you have to give the stamp of approval. But when you have, like, we've spoken about having the operations manager, when you have another business partner that's handling another sector of the business, we want those people to actually be able to make effective decisions on their own. Come to us, let us know, like, hey, here's something that needed to be done. Here are one, two, maybe three options that we can go with. Let's hunker down on a final decision.
Yeah.
One of the hangups with that is if we don't understand how to make those decisions, especially fast and efficiently, how are we going to expect those other people in our business to be able to make decisions similarly? So
Yeah.
being able to pinpoint and identify them is just going to be the start. And this is going to be the same thing. This is going to be a skill that you guys are going to be able to continuously work on and kind of build up. And yes, I say momentum because you're going to want to build momentum with getting there because you as the business owner, you're going to want to get there sooner rather than later. So the fast, low stake decisions, these are the things like, my ultimate favorite question. What type of CRM should I use? What type of calendar should I be using? Um, what should I use to create a logo or what color should I pick for my logo to stand out? Now, these are those quick, low stake decisions. They don't really make much of an impact to anything that you're doing. My favorite phrase, I always tell everybody, build your systems around your business, not your business around your systems.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason I classify something as simple as I say as simple, but something like a CRM or a calendar or any other software you want to use in your business, the reason I classify that as like a fast, low stake decision is because you're going to change. You're going to start off with Podio, maybe most people have. I've done that myself. And you're going to get a year down the line, and then you're going to switch maybe to something like REI Reply or Astro Blaster, one of the white labels out there. And then another 1 or 2 years later, you'll end up going with an agency account directly with Go High Level and have an
Uh,
integration team. So these types of decisions are the decisions that you kind of want to limit the amount of time. These are the biggest hang up for many people. Most people that aren't moving forward and aren't where they want to be, chances are a majority of it is not being able to make these small decisions fast enough. This is where you'll spend most of your time in analysis paralysis. If you want to start building momentum and being able to be quicker at some of these, set yourself a 5-minute timer. Give yourself 5 minutes. And at the end of the 5 minutes that goes off, it's, crap or get off the pot time. Either I'm going to make the decision to take the action or I'm not, and I'm going to move on.
Bless
Sorry. Thank you.
you.
Medium impact decisions. These are next in line on why most people end up getting hung up. Medium impact decisions would be things like, do I need to bring an employee onto my business? Do I need to bring 1099 contractor into my business? Do I need to find a mentor? Kind of things like that. Obviously, they take a little bit more thought than trying to figure out what CRM you need or what calendar you need to be using. Now, when it comes to medium impact decisions, you're there because you already have a majority of the information that you need to even make that decision. When it comes to a medium impact decision, you're going to want to use, I call it the 80% rule. If you have 80% of the information that you need, take the action. Just make the decision. It's a yes or a no. That last 20% usually is where we get stuck in analysis paralysis, and we're waiting for the perfect information. We're looking for those pieces of information that completely back up why we should do something. Now, again, these medium impact decisions, these are things that can change later on down the line. So they're not permanent. Oh, Jessica, I'm still guilty from time to time, quite a bit actually. High stakes decisions. These are the fun ones. These are going to be the things, you know, that you really have to put some thought into. You know, do I need to bring a partner into my business? Is that person a good partner to bring in? Do I need to make a pivot? Do I need to break my business down completely? Is it time for me to switch market? Is it time for me to go from wholesaling to buy and hold? Is it time for me to stop trying to hold properties and move into fix and flip? These are the high stake decisions that you have to make. Mm. There's a few things that you have to ask yourself when you're trying to make that choice, whether it's a yes or a no. If you're erring on the side of yes, you're going to want to ask, like, hey, this decision that I make, is this reversible? Am I able to go back to where I was before? If I make this decision to move forward, am I able to go back to where I was? Kind of make the opposite decision. If you still are unsure, you can get outside perspective, but you still want to be completely intentional when you do this as well. It's another area that you can get stuck in analysis paralysis. I know I'm completely guilty of this where I have a big decision that I have to make and I second guess myself, and then I go to talk to one person and they give me their advice, their thoughts on it, and that just doesn't match up to what I was thinking or what I want to do. So now I go talk to another person and they kind of match up and back up, but I still have doubts because of that first. So now I end up talking to like 20 different people in order to try to make this decision, and I just wasted 2 weeks. Very easy to get stuck stuck in that situation. So you can limit yourself. You could tell yourself, hey, I'm going to talk to 3 people that I hold, well, whether I hold dear to my heart, or these are people that I allow to influence me for one reason or another. I'm going to choose 3 and I'm going to get their perspective. The last thing that you want to ask yourself with a high stake decision is, what's the worst case scenario? Yes, if I go through this, what's the worst thing that's going to happen? All right, the business that I know right now that I have is going to fall apart. But is that manageable? Am I going to be able to rebuild? If the answer is yes, then the answer to that decision is yes, go for it. Anybody have any decisions lately that they've been hung up for or hung up on for more than maybe 2 or 3 days?
Yeah, so this is Natalie. Um, I think part of my thing is if there is a decision that has to be made, it may be in the low scale decisions, but nonetheless, the analysis paralysis concept that you speak of has probably been one of the things that has hindered me the most. Like I'm getting on the phones, I'm talking to sellers. However, if it's something about their particular situation that I may not feel like I can progressively help them on, instead of doing the follow-up, reaching back out to them where there could be an open window, an open door for opportunity, I get caught up in trying to figure out their problem. So I'm analyzing the situation over and over and over again to the point to where, the uncertainty sets in and I'm just not, you know, jumping through that window, if that makes sense.
Oh, no, it makes complete sense. Um, I can't tell you how many times Haley had yelled at me in that first year.
I'm sorry,
Uh,
I didn't hear you. You froze up on me.
I apologize. I can't tell you how many times Haley had yelled at me in that first year that we got into real estate. We started out with wholesaling. Um, and I was trying to wear all the hats. I was trying to do everything. And a
Mhm.
majority of my day was on the phone with
Mhm.
prospective sellers. And we were in Maine. And so a lot of the people that I was calling were in Maine. And a
Mhm.
majority of them, like, they had legitimate issues that they were dealing with. I had no idea how to kind of translate resolving that issue with, getting that property under contract. So I would spend days upon days trying to research and figure out, like, what's the best case scenario? Like, how can I actually help this person? What can I do? And Haley'd be yelling at me like, "Hey, did you call them back yet?" "No, I still
Mhm.
don't understand this." "Hey, call them back yet?" "No, I still don't understand." "Well, you need to call them back."
Mhm.
I've
Mhm.
definitely been there. The
Yeah.
Where it starts to get fun is, and I don't know what any of the communities that you're involved in or any of the Facebook groups that you're involved in or anything like that,
Mhm.
but you can start to kind of, if you can switch the way that you're maybe thinking about it as, I'm a one person show. I'm doing this alone. I got to make the calls. I got to make the follow ups. I got to understand this. I have to understand that. And I have to go research it. Once you
Mhm.
start remembering that you have those resources out there, you have those groups,
Mhm.
and maybe this is where you can actually apply kind of building that momentum to making, you know, quicker decisions in that area is,
Mhm.
hey, should I just go throw a post out there and ask who's dealt with this situation before and maybe
Mhm.
jump on a half an hour call with them instead of
Mhm.
spending
All this
maybe
time
30 hours
researching.
this week? Yeah, yeah.
Totally. Because you just don't know it all and to retain so much information in such a short amount of time. Your lead then went stale now.
Oh, 100%. And yeah,
Yeah.
that falls right under those quick decisions.
Yeah.
Take 5 minutes. Do I know it? No, I don't know it. Do I want to spend 20 hours trying to figure it out? No, I don't want to spend
Mhm.
20 hours trying to figure it out. Okay, so if I don't want to research for 20 hours, what's my next step? Do I have resources? Yes, I have resources. See, now I'm making multiple decisions. Boom, 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 boom. One after another after another. It's ultimately going to take me about 10 minutes to finally lead to where I get a post out on Facebook. And I have people that have dealt with that situation reach out to me to jump on a call and talk through it. Then you get hit with a couple more decisions. And this is where that momentum starts to build up. After
Mhm.
that call, and they explain it to you, okay, did I retain that information? Yes. Am I comfortable with pitching this to the seller? No. That brings on
Mhm.
another whole world of problems. Now you got to kind of build up the
Mhm.
confidence. All right. Well, if I'm not comfortable, but I don't want to miss up on the follow up, um,
Mhm.
can I ask this person if they'd be willing to jump on that call with me? So now, like
Mhm.
that one small decision just turned into, almost 30 that I took in a short period of time.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like a flower that just bloomed.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. Okay. I like this. This is good stuff.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. I'm glad it's helping you too.
Indeed.
Pansy, I know I'm gonna pick on you because I saw you shake your head too when I asked.
About what?
anybody had any decisions that they've been hung up on for more than 2 days, 3 days.
Oh, yeah, we still haven't hired an operations manager. Like, we have integrators and they all know different parts, but it's still, there's like, we need someone else. We still need someone else.
So
Uh,
do we think that this is a um do we think this is a fast, low stake decision? Do we think that this is a medium impact, or do we think that this is a high impact?
I would say an operations manager would be kind of a high impact decision, maybe medium. But in our business, because it's just us, for us, it's
Right.
you know what I'm saying? It's like would be considered the high because we're gonna make that decision, ultimately, me and my business partner. So
Okay.
yeah. I think it makes a big difference who you have as your operations manager.
Oh, 100%. It
So
it
I
makes
think that
yeah.
should be a high impact decision.
It's almost like bringing another potential partner into the business to some degree.
Absolutely, yeah, I agree. So
So have you guys have interviewed people?
no, because
No,
we have not done our homework
because
and put together exactly, what we're looking for. I'm not even sure we understand what we're looking for. No, I'm not, like I'm a systems person for certain things, but real estate and tech, I understand a lot of the real estate stuff, but I'm the people person more than anything. That's why I come here because I'm trying to learn the language so I can better communicate. And it does help. And I appreciate you very much for that. But yeah,
oh,
I
well,
don't
I
think
appreciate you.
either of us really completely understand what we're looking for in that operations manager, what we want them to specifically do. And like, I know because I've been on your other Zooms and heard you talk and stuff like that. And, you know, other people talk, and one person sounds like, oh, yeah, your operations manager can do just hire them and right, and they're going to do the rest, or kind of almost, it sounds
Right.
like. And then it sounds like on your side, being that you were an operations manager or integrator somewhere in that thing, it's more than one person's job, right? So that's
Right.
why I said, like, I'm not sure exactly what we are looking for because, like I said, we have several integrators at different levels,
Right.
but we do need that person that can kind of bring it together.
Which even having the integrators makes it a little bit easier on the operations manager, honestly. Um, right from the beginning.
Yeah.
So in my opinion, grab another water. In my humble opinion, you could take this at face value and say, James, shut up whenever you'd like. um, I don't think making the decision on an operations manager is where you guys should be hanging up a lot of your time at the moment. I think
Yeah,
you
we're
guys should be
not. That's the
making,
problem.
yeah,
Too.
making the
No,
decision
it's
on what you guys need.
yeah. Yeah, that's what we're working on. Like, we're not so much focused on
Right.
looking for that operations manager right this second. We're kind of, like I said, we are doing the homework, but it's taking us a little longer to really comprehend what we're looking for.
Right.
But in the meantime, as we have more conversations and whatnot, we're figuring it out more and finding people, and I'm sure it's going to happen here soon.
Okay. So I promise I'm going somewhere with this.
No, I believe you.
The operations manager making, bringing that ops manager in, is that right now a make or break in your business? Like, is your business just going to completely fall apart if you don't bring somebody in the next week, 2
No,
weeks?
no, no.
Okay.
No,
So safe to
we've done
say
this
that that
long
might
without it,
be,
but it would be helpful
so safe to
eventually.
say right now that might be a medium impact decision.
Okay,
Now, the thing with medium and low stake decisions is these are the areas where we want to be quick. The reason these are the areas that we want to be quick is because these are things that we can tailor and we can pivot over time. These are things that we can change. A bad decision made quickly is often better than a great decision made too late.
look at
I
James.
love that because
Say that
that
one more
falls,
time for me.
no problem. A
I know.
bad decision made quickly is often better than a great decision made too late.
Okay. Why?
Now, you can spiral in all different areas with that. But the biggest example that I can give you for why that is so is everyone's looking for a unicorn. Everyone's always looking for a unicorn, especially with integrators, with underwriters, with operations managers, with, I mean, heck, even agents that people want to work with. They're looking for a unicorn. There's a reason they're called a unicorn.
Yeah.
They're extremely rare.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're waiting to make the ultimate right decision on that person, that right there might be the reason your business isn't moving at all. It's a lot easier to bring somebody in if you know that or have the understanding. Like I've said it before, and one of my favorite things that Maxwell says is, hey, life is a revolving door, both in your personal life and in business. People are going to come and people are going to go. I have that mentality through and through.
Mm-hmm.
So we already know, we already think about it that way. Like people are going to come, people are going to go. You've seen it in the corporate world and in W2. You've seen people try to work their way up into higher management. They end up leaving, and usually middle management gets the blame for a lot of it. Just because you're an entrepreneur doesn't mean that that same thing isn't going to happen over on this side.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a little more beneficial to figure out what you're looking for, break it down a little bit, make it clear and concise, bring somebody in that matches what your business needs right there, right now. Like be clear on that. Don't worry about the above and beyond just yet, because that's the whole point of Natalie. I know you didn't get to hear it because I don't believe you've been on any of the other Zooms, but I have a few soft skills that I look for in everybody that I speak to, especially
Mm-hmm.
somebody that I'm thinking about bringing into my business.
Mm-hmm.
That's communication, empathy, resilience, and continuous learning.
Mm-hmm.
That's why continuous learning is on that top four. And the list, if you're talking about either an integrator or an operations manager, the list of soft skills that that person should have is, probably can't see where my bottom hand is, but that list is literally that long. Most people are trying to focus on that entire list. I'm slimming it down to that four. Four things are all I'm looking for. And if you have continuous learning to pair with the other three, then I'm going to bring you on and I'm going to give you a shot. Because even though you're not a unicorn right now, if you fall into the core values that our company has set and you operate it that way and you're continuously learning, I know that you're going to get to that unicorn level. And that principle actually kind of stems from the culinary world. Um, one of the things that I've learned the hard way, because I've worked upper management in the restaurant industry, that's what I've done before all of this. And Mm. In the beginning, when I first was given like a hiring position to where I had authority to hire people and bring them in, I was looking for those highly and overqualified applicants. I wanted the people that had, 10, 15 years experience in other kitchens. The firing and the quitting rate of that person was significantly higher
Mm,
than somebody that wasn't quite at that level yet because they were mullible. So I
teachable.
started feeling, yeah, I started feeling the person out. Hey, you can fit in with my crew back there. You know, you got a lot of the same hobbies, a lot of the same passions. Your mannerisms are kind of similar. You'd be a great fit. I started to find that those were the people that worked their way up through the rungs a lot faster. My first shift manager didn't have much restaurant experience, phenomenal communication skills, got along great with all of the other employees,
Mm-hmm.
was able to take feedback and constructive criticism and make himself better and better as he went. And that's the first level of management in a kitchen. So now coming over to here, I kind of treat it the same way. Having all of those additionals, that's definitely a plus. Like the operations manager that we just hired has a degree in operations.
Mm,
I straight up told her she might have been overqualified, but those weren't the things that I was looking at. We jumped on and we had a conversation about, her goals, and I got to feel out what her values are, and they matched up. And that's what I went with.
mm,
Sorry, another little tangent.
mm-mm.
But
That
that's
was that was good stuff.
but that's where I classify that, even bringing somebody on underneath partnership level, um, as a medium impact decision. Now, a little practice that I'll give you guys, maybe we can call it a little bit of a challenge. But throughout these next couple weeks, when you guys are faced with a decision to make, I'd like you guys to think about, is this low risk? Is this medium impact? Or is this high impact? Okay. If it's low risk, starting out, I'll let you guys do 15 minutes. Set a 15-minute timer. Make a decision by the end of that 15 minutes on a low risk decision. On a medium impact, starting out, give yourself 48 hours. On a high impact decision, give yourself 48 hours, but then sleep on it. So give yourself 48 hours on a high impact to determine a decision, and then sleep on that decision. Now, as you start building momentum and you start getting these reps in, you'll pull back on the time frames that you're giving yourself. Then you'll move into 5-minute quick decisions and 24 hours on the medium and the high impact.
James, what did you say? How much time would you give for the high impact? I missed some of it because there was noise in my background.
No, no problem. So when you're first starting out and you're trying to build the momentum, I said I'll let you guys have 15 minutes on low impact, quick decision, but make a decision at the end of the 15 minutes. For medium, starting out, give yourself 48 hours to make a decision, and then stick with the decision at the end of the 48 hours. For high impact, give yourself 48 hours to make a decision, and then sleep on that decision. So if your decision can be yes or no on something, if it's a high impact, for example, give yourself 48 hours to weigh out the options between the both. If you choose yes, sleep on the yes. Only think about that yes. And then follow through with your decision.
So when you're sleeping on the decision, it's not to go back into vacillation mode about whether or not you should do it. Sleep on whatever decision you've made and execute that, no matter
Yes.
how you're feeling on the morning of. Now,
Yep.
what's the psychology behind that? I know there's some psychology there.
So it's similar to when you're making a big decision, 9 times out of 10, even if you know that you're making the right decision, or you just feel it, it's your gut feeling that you're making the right decision, you're going to be anxious when you start to take action on that. I know we've all have heard it. A lot of people have said it. You know, we mistake the feeling of anxiety and anxious for excitement. So sleeping on it for that 24 hours allows you to kind of calm that nerve a little bit, and then to be able to go full force into taking action confidently. It's the same thing with the negative side of the emotion. You know, if you're heated about something, or you just want to tell somebody off, draft out your email and then sleep on it. And then I can guarantee if you sleep on it and you wake up and you open that email, you're going to change quite a bit of it. And it's going to be a better version. Same thing applies to the action that you're going to take. So if you make that decision at the end of 48 hours and you're not completely confident in that decision, sleeping on it allows you to kind of detach from the emotion of anxiety and fall a little bit more into confidence and excitement.
Thanks.
No problem. Oof.
What's up, Naomi? You're late for class, girlfriend.
I know. I said, dang it.
Luckily, this one's actually recorded.
Thank goodness.
But when when you're thinking about decision making, like, I know, at least for myself personally, like, I'll look at some of those bigger and those, really, really, really successful people. And just because you brought up Pace earlier, Pansy, I'll use Pace as an example. I'm always like, dude, how does he make like decisions that quick? How does he just boom, 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 boom? When you build the momentum, you're classifying those decisions and you're getting to the point where it's just easier to make the decision. Most of those individuals, those extremely successful individuals, they navigate with confidence because they know, like, I can make this decision now. And since I've been able to classify it, I can pivot as needed as we go. That kind of circles back to earlier about um, a bad decision usually ends up being better than a good decision made too late.
Lot to think
Yeah.
about tonight there, James.
Yeah, I heard the saying that you waste way more time vacillating over a decision than you ever will making the wrong one. Because if you make the wrong one, you can pivot. So and that harmonizes with something I heard Cody talk about, Cody Sanchez. Whereas some people, you know, they have their company meetings and it's like, let's reconvene in a week versus, okay, we didn't come to a meeting of the minds. We'll revisit this tomorrow. And that's what you're talking about. Like as you get more confident with making these decisions, you'll make them more speedily. Now, what if you have this major
100%.
decision and you've had the 2 days to mull it over and you still don't feel definitive in the decision?
So apologize. So there were three things that I had mentioned a little bit earlier about like that high stake decision. You know, the one that you're giving yourself 24 hours and then you're or 48 hours, sorry, starting out, and then you're sleeping on. During that 48 hours, there's a couple things that you can do to actually help you come up with that decision. Is this reversible or is this non-reversible?
Mm.
So if I say yes to this and things fall apart, am I able to build it back up? Or is this like this is end game if this messes up? Another thing that you can do is get outside perspective. You know, most people have mentors, most people have either business partners or people that they allow to influence them in the business world or in communities. Now, careful with this one because this can very easily become an analysis paralysis trap as well. It's very easy to talk to one person, you don't get what you were looking for. You talk to another person, kind of get what you're looking for. You keep repeating that. Next thing you know, you talk to 20 people and you've gone over that 48-hour mark. I would limit yourself and say, I'm going to talk to 3 people that I trust. I trust their opinion and I trust their guidance, and those 3 people only. Then you're going to ask yourself, what's the worst case scenario? And then once you thought about the worst case scenario, is this manageable? If this is the worst thing that happens, is this manageable? Can I deal with it? Yes, I can. Okay, great. Then the decision's yes. Now, over time, you'll start to notice you'll get a little quicker and quicker. Um, I didn't even notice it within myself, and I didn't even notice it within the team until I believe it was not this past meeting, but the meeting before. We ended up having to make a decision, which would it was a big pivot in the business. But we basically sat down at the beginning of the meeting. We said it. We don't go over an hour. It was we needed to say, and this was brought up like a half an hour into the meeting. It was like we need to walk out of here with a decision. So we have 30 minutes, guys. We need to walk out with a final decision. We all ended up being able to do it. Had it been months ago, probably not, because we had to deal with that same decision months ago. And as you see, it kind of got swept under the rug, and we just kept going, kept going, and kept going. And then now that it was brought back and surfaced, like we hadn't even given it thought for a couple weeks. But again, over the last 2 weeks, that's all it's been for us is quick decision, quick decision, quick decision.
I'm getting anxiety just thinking about implementing this, but I see the value, you know.
Yeah, in the beginning, I mentioned too, it's once you start classifying it, you'll notice that about 90% of your decisions that you have to make end up being in the first two tiers. A majority of those being in the first one. Those ones that you shouldn't spend more than 5 minutes trying to decide.
Now, when you talk about, I know this is systems in sync, so are you talking about when it comes to questions about processes and operations, or are you even talking about major acquisitions
Yeah, it's in general.
in
Um,
general?
I know it's called systems in sync, but a lot of what I do go over is foundational stuff for business. Now, a majority of what I do talk about and go over correlates with real estate because that's what my core business is. So when I'm able to bring everything to the table and open up and show you guys, like, hey, here's why, like, I'm telling you this, and this is literally what we just did in the business and how that worked. That's why it ends up being a majority of it ends up being related to real estate. In reality, it's all foundation to business and entrepreneurship in and of itself.
So if it's a property and it's gone through the deep underwriting, the numbers are what they are, but it's a huge acquisition, and you're just like, you give it 2 days and then sleep on it.
Oh, especially when it comes to properties, because if it's a good property, the numbers pencil out. If you don't have EMD submitted, there's times that you don't even have that 48 hours before you go back and say, okay, I want to submit EMD, and they're like, sorry, it's gone.